Hello. I don't seem to have a chat. Let's see. Hello. Something's wrong. Oh no. Hi. Hi, can you, okay, so I can, hi Tony and hi Susan. Did this come through in the right place? I'm just wondering if anything went wrong. Apparently not, which is good to know. Great, okay, but what I've just seen is that the photos that I want to show you and stuff haven't loaded, which is very odd. Something's gone wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that now, quickly. Hello, everybody. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on the other camera so you're interesting to look at. And then I'm just going to load up the photos again. I have to do them one by one, unfortunately, but it won't take too long. And that's going to make for a much more interesting experience for you. How strange. I prepared all of this earlier, but that's the way the internet works sometimes. Halfway through. And only 6 more to go. It's a shame I can't do all these in one go. And 3. And almost there. 4. And media. This one. Great. Okay, that's done. So welcome Nancy as well, and not very many people here, that must be said. I wonder what, that's unusual. Anyway, let's get started. Look at my hat. Lee got me a hat with googly eyes. Ta-da! Okay. As a Christmas present. So, welcome everybody to Detailed Amsterdam number 33. And I'm probably thinking, you're all thinking like, hey, what is he doing on the Single Canal? We're meant to be somewhere else today. That's because I just thought I'd start around the corner. So back, and you know, it's so nice seeing the canals without trees. Hello, Carly. Welcome, welcome. Let's do a slow pan around and then I'll take us to where we're going to start today. Aye, aye. Yeah, I'm very pleased with the hat. She also thought it was the perfect hat. Oh, lovely colours. You can see why the Dutch painters got so carried away in the golden age with the lovely skies here, can't you? Okay. Oh, hello, Catherine. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, we're going to head back towards more or less where we ended last time. And I'm going to start in the Lange Straat. And that means Long Street, just like it sounds. But before we get there, there's this funny little alleyway. And Susan, it was too cold to go out and buy a balaclava. So what I did the next day when I had to go out on my scooter is I just wrapped a scarf around my face. It's not too bad today. It is cold, but it's nothing like the really, really cold that it was. I don't even know if it was last week or the week before. And it's just starting to sleet. But look at this little detail I noticed here. Nice Louis XIV oops. And check out these gold lions. I think they're lions. Anyway, let's zoom in. Hello Tish, welcome. Oh, okay, just wanted to show you that. Okay, now just around the corner here, I'm going to show you a unique piece of Amsterdam's industrial heritage. Now this is the very last of its kind, and it is the oldest cast iron electric cable box in Amsterdam. It's from the early 1900s, and that's before, hello Jackie, that's before, oh here I am I in the wrong place by any chance? I was so worried about that. I'm concerned that something went wrong with the, anyway, we'll sort that out later. It's just saying I'm going to show you a bit of Amsterdam's industrial heritage. It's from the early 1900s. This is before the Amsterdam School kind of Art Deco-ish kind of cable boxes came along that were then far more of those. This one was almost demolished, and Amsterdammers applied to the Municipal Monuments Division to make it into such a monument. And here it is in all its glory. Ta-da! Okay. It's not spectacular, I know, but it is the last of its kind. And cast iron, and look over here, it says GE. This was for, oh, I've got it written down somewhere because it's so difficult to say. Gemeente Elektriciteitswerken. The City Council Electric Works. Now this wonderful national monument here was actually made by the Amsterdam Iron Foundry called Zimmer. And that is a company that in 1829, it took over a clock company, quite a famous clock company actually, the one that was made by the Hemeny brothers, and that was formed way back in the 1600s. Now they were bell makers, or bell founders as they're called, and they actually developed the carillon and the carillon. And they moved from France to Amsterdam in the mid-1600s, and they made carillons for many places. One of the famous ones is the Belfry in Ghent, and the Dom Church in Utrecht, and the town hall here in Amsterdam, now the Royal Palace. So I'm getting messages that maybe the stream started in a different place. I'll have to look into that, but glad that many of you found me. Hi Tariq. Tariq, has your slicey arrived? I'm so curious. Let me see if it says so in the chat. What a beautiful sky. Right, what next? Oh yes, this is next. Here we have a gable stone of John the Baptist. Let me just zoom in here. Oopsie. Okay, so it says Sint Jan Baptista. That means John the Baptist. Oh great, thanks, Chair. Thank you, Catherine, for doing that. So this gable stone here is from the first quarter of the 1600s. They know that because of the way it's recessed. And this street here, this whole part of town was laid out in like it's 1585. And this western side of the street here was already developed, yeah, with the mystic lamb, or the Lamb of God. Already developed, hey Madeline, by 1600. Now, this building here was used for a long time as a tailor's. Now, John the Baptist was actually the patron saint of tailors and cloth dyers and weavers and furriers, amongst many other things, I'm sure. So that's why this was chosen here. And after that, the building was sold to a hatter. Okay, somebody who made hats. And there's an old deed from 1628 that the hatter actually inflicted a head wound on a dissatisfied customer with a pair of scissors. So if the customer was dissatisfied before that, I'm pretty sure they were extremely dissatisfied after that. So I guess mad as a hatter kind of takes on a different meaning. Maybe it's because he had lead poisoning. So be careful around your hatters. What have we got here? Somewhere, where's the red? Oh, the red horse is coming up. Yeah. Interesting. It's such a nice little street, this, you know, because it's so peaceful and quiet, but it's actually very, very, very central. But there's really no reason for most people to come down here. Ruth! Oh, great, Ruth. I saw messages coming through. Glad you found us. I don't know what went wrong, but I'll try and work it out later. Over here is a building with a statue of a horse's head sticking outside. And the only thing I can really think of to say about this is because why the hell not? Okay, why not? I couldn't find anything anywhere online about why there's a horse's head here, but fair enough. Horses' heads have to go somewhere, I suppose. I'm struggling to zoom now, I think it's because my fingers are so cold. There we go. Okay. Now, some of you will notice or recognize this style by now as Amsterdam school architecture. Goodness me, these fingers of mine. I don't know whether it's good or bad to wear gloves like this because the ends of one's hands become so, that might be it, Tish, yeah, Mafia headquarters, become so cold. And I don't even know if it's better to have like the whole hand in like one temperature or not. Anyway, Amsterdam school from the early 1900s. So there's beautiful detailing here on the door. Hey, it's sleeting. And all the way along the building, they also have this really interesting detail here. Amsterdam school, a bit like Deco, same kind of period. Very distinctive brickwork, often with, as you can see here, with vertical and horizontal brickwork in the same building. So that's a really typical, you know, it's obviously part of brick expressionism. Hey, wow, it's kind of hailing / sleeting. I love it. Look over here, and you'll see that there's a little patch with darker brick over here, which is a bit odd, really. And the reason for that is that there used to be a gable stone there. I'm not sure what the detailing represents. I didn't see it. I'm assuming that you mean this over here. But I didn't see any reference to them representing anything in particular. The darker brick around the corner is because there used to be this gable stone there, and then they moved it to the front. And oh, I need some of those, Sandy. I most definitely do. Yeah, it's just a gable stone with a ship. Obviously a very popular sort of thing to have ships on gable stones. And, sorry, about to get run over. And there's another one just down at the end. Now, this canal here, and I'll try not to do that. Definitely not going to slip in the canal. This canal here is called the Blauwburgwal. And that means the blue rampart. And it used to be called the Herengracht. Now what that means is the rope walk. So lane is a line like a rope, baan means like a track, and Burgwal, gracht means canal. So that's what it was. Because there was a rope walk here. Remember, this was a very small town. And This is actually the smallest, the shortest canal in central Amsterdam, and this is it, all of it. It just goes between Singel and the Herengracht. And yeah, so it was they changed its name, and the reason they changed its name to the Blauwburgwal, the Blue Rampart, is when the Jordan district was made, they made another Lijnbaansgracht, another rope walk canal, so they needed to change the name of the one behind me. And they named it the Blue Rampart because this bridge here used to be a drawbridge and it used to be blue. So that's why. Okay. And this is still called the Lijnbaansbrug. Let me show you, I saw a new bike here. I haven't seen this one before. It's one of Warren's flower bikes. And looking very eye-catching in pink and green. And love is the cure, which is his kind of catchphrase. And a bunch of lovely roses on the front. So, one last thing to show you around this side is another gable stone. Now this one's unusual because you'll see what it looks like. There we go. Okay, so the gable stone here is pretty clear, don't you think? That it's a winged horse, and it's thought to be Pegasus. And in each corner there's a brush and a broom. I'm not entirely sure why, but it's definitely a winged horse. Now, the funny thing is it says underneath De Vliegende Vos, the flying fox. Now, as far as flying foxes go, they're found in India, in the area around there, and they were a very popular name for inns and often houses, actually, here in the Netherlands, because of the colonial connection. They had a wingspan of 1.5 meters, that's 4.5 feet. So yeah, the flying fox, although it looks like Pegasus. But yeah, I just thought I'd like to point that out because this is about Amsterdam, of course. So we need to just dash around to the other side of the canal. I'm going to show you my hat that I got from Lee with the googly eyes for those of you who haven't seen it yet. I should put it on backwards so I have eyes on the back of my head, obviously. It's a broomstick, yeah, maybe. A broomstick to fly on, I assume you're talking about, yeah? So, okay, that's enough of me. And back to the Blauwburgwal. Oh, it definitely looks like a horse, Tony. Well, it is a horse. There's no doubt about that. Definitely a horse. Now, during the 1940s, on the 10th of May 1940, the Netherlands was invaded by the Germans. Now, Hitler had said at a great big rally that he would respect the traditional Dutch neutrality, and the very next day invaded the Netherlands. And on the 11th of May, so the second day of the invasion, at 11 a.m., up in the sky over there, there was a German plane flying over Amsterdam. It was probably on its way to bomb Schiphol Airport, and it was probably hit by anti-aircraft fire. That's what people think. And what happened is that it was an injured plane, and it ended up jettisoning its load, so dropping its bombs here, causing extensive damage. Let me show you a photograph of this. The photos are all mixed up because they didn't load properly. Here you go. So this is the view from here. Now, excuse me. The 4 buildings on the Blauwburgwal here at the end and the 2 on the Herengracht just around the corner were destroyed. And the explosion caused such a pressure wave that actually threw several people from their homes into the canal. 44 people were killed and 79 wounded. Okay. Now, Amsterdam was not severely bombed during the war. It was just here and in one other place in the old center on the Koningsplein. Otherwise, there were no bombs dropped on central Amsterdam. And there were obviously in the airport and then also in Amsterdam North where there was an airplane factory. So yeah, just another old photo I want to show you that was taken right here. That really gives you an idea. So it's taken from just this point here of how different and how peaceful it all looked back then. Check this out. So this is from here. You can see the exact same part of the building on the left-hand side. And no cars, of course. No cars. So have a good look at that. I'll move it out the way. And then I'll move it back. So from that to that. Cyclists everywhere. I want to show you a memorial plaque. So, as I said, 44 people killed and 79 injured. And then much later, in 2016, they actually managed to work out who the victims were. They never knew. So somebody worked it out through going through old death certificates. And this was put here, commemorating the victims of that bombing. And they still have a ceremony here every year, remembering that. I'm going to show you from another position a photo. I just love the old photos from the city archive. And you can actually use them. These old photographs, what I'm going to show you now, are actually completely copyright free. So let's try and set this up properly. Okay. Where is it? Here you go. So this is right. Actually, it should be on the other side of the bridge. So I'm now standing in exactly the same place. And that's the bomb damage of those buildings. And let me take it off screen here. So from that, to that. Okay. Right. Ugh. So this replacement building here, it was made, to fit in, kind of, with the historicized windows, and so it didn't, and I think it does fit in pretty well. It looks like it's an old building. When I was looking for the building years ago, I was uncertain about it because there is a modern building on the corner behind me. But then, as Tony pointed out earlier, it is unusual, the top part, isn't it? And there was much criticism of the top floor at the time. And this was completed in 1952. And the reason for the criticism is it didn't really fit in, you see. It's inspired by like a loggia in Italian Renaissance style. So people said, this is not in keeping. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I've always loved it. And sometimes at night I've seen all the lights on upstairs and on the floor below. It almost looks like it's all one property, and it just looks like an absolute dream home. Actually built as offices for a coffee trading company. And it doesn't, to me, you know, obviously it's unusual because it's got the wrap-round balcony, but look at this detail here, and you will notice it's quite a, you know, it's quite a regular motif in Amsterdam, because if you look here, there you have it. You know, it's all over the city. So there is a reference to the rest of the city, and I'm glad they did it. It's nice to have it. I mean, one day I'll probably buy it and live there. Unfortunately, that day is not going to be today. So, what I wanted to show you is, oh, let's see, it's now raining quite a lot. Now it's just sleeting, actually. Let's pop over here. This place with the red awnings is one of my favorite beer bars, and it's definitely the best beer bar in the city. It's been here since 2000. It's called the Arend's Nest, which means the eagle's nest, and it was opened by this guy Peter van der Arend, so that's a play on his surname. And he wanted to open a bar that only served specialty Dutch beers. And that's exactly what he did. And let me show you a video of it, which I took a couple of weeks ago, because there just happened to be not too many people inside. Now, yeah, so there's got 50 different beers on tap. 50 on tap, that's an amazing amount. And 60 beers in total. Excuse me. Oh no, maybe it's 130 Dutch beers in total. There's the eagle above the bar. It's a lovely bar, and the staff are certainly super knowledgeable and pretty helpful as well. And it's not too loud. You know, it's one of the places where you go in, and I've seen people being really, you know, just a bit too loud in there, and then they say to the people, you know, would you mind just keeping it down a little? Which is very, just that's the kind of place that I like. Okay. My favorite ones can sometimes get a bit rowdy and loud, so this is really nice to come here and actually just try a selection of really nice quality beers in a very pleasant environment. So that's a high recommendation on the list. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. Right, well, I'll show you a couple of big buildings over here, because I'm going to walk across and then be right in front of all of these. So I thought it would be nice just for you to be able to see them. I love the canals in winter when there's no leaves on the trees, because you can really see how gorgeous all the buildings are behind. So I'm going to talk about up until there. And check out this little narrow one here. We'll be up in front of it in just a moment. Tiny narrow building. Okay, off we go. Yeah. Hey, look, the lights are on already. Wow, that's early. You know, what one learns from Hago tours, I know this isn't a Hago one, but it's the same sort of thing. I was speaking to a friend today about something about the tour, some detail, and they thought I was mad. Okay, but anyway, he said, who would ever want to know such detail? Okay, check this Gale stone out here. Now, this one here was put here, and much later. Oh, sorry, let me just get it in the middle of the screen. It's actually a reference to paper making with a water mill. So what's going on here in detail, because I know how they make paper with mills. So in the top middle, there's a woman sitting there, And what she would do is there's cloth. She's got a pile of cloth in front of her. And what she would be doing is cutting off the buttons and ripping it into little shreds. And then the cloth gets put into a tub like that. And either the wind or the water makes the wheel go round. And then there's like these hammers in the tub that bash up and down, and they bash the cloth into a pulp. And then in the middle section here, they're putting that pulp in with water to make it like a mush. And then what they were doing here is taking a flat sieve and then lifting water up with that. And then that causes some of these fibers to stay above the mesh of the sieve. And they do it a bunch of times, and they actually make paper that way. The paper then gets put under a press here between pieces of felt, and then hung up to dry afterwards like that. And over here on the right is somebody sleeping, and that's thought to show that this was a continuous operation. Actually, it's very noisy. So you wouldn't be sleeping in the proximity of this, where's my finger? There, because that makes a hell of a noise. There's actually a paper making mill that I visit on my tours, and I take earplugs for everybody, just to stay doing that part of the procedure because it's so noisy. Anyway, here you go. Now, these two great big buildings here, it's actually 109 and 111, here and here, were actually belonged to a house on the next canal, and a house that I've told you about, and we stood outside. So they weren't as fancy as this. They were warehouses, but then later they were sold off. Oh, thank you, Tony, for the coffee, much appreciated. They were sold off. Now, this facade here is one of the very first Louis XVI facades in the city, and this is going back to sort of Dutch classicism with the flat cornice and the really big triangular pediment. And next to it is this tiny narrow little warehouse. So this was actually a separate building, and incredibly narrow. And this warehouse actually still has part of its own original old timber frame. You see it's a warehouse with a hoisting beam up there and the big doors that open. Now a little detail here above the door is this sun. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey Mark, you showed us a building on the single canal more or less opposite to this, which was also called the Sun, and you're absolutely correct. So let me show you that. On the other canal, here is the gable at the top, showing that sun, and so that is the building there at the end of the blue line on the map. That's where that building is. Okay, so you'd go through that big house there, and you would get to the building behind that I've circled in green. Now that was actually a hidden Mennonite church called the Sun. And the yellow line is the little walkway, thank you Kate for the coffees, the little walkway that I'm standing in front of now that also was like a back entrance to the church. So they are indeed connected. And here is a picture of what it looked like inside that old Mennonite church, tucked away in between these buildings. And then it later became an auction house, and I actually showed some pictures of it when it was an auction house in an earlier tour. Oops. You know what, oh come on, with the button to get rid of the photograph is extremely close to the button that would end the tour. Okay, so here we have another great big canal house. This is an Empire style. That's French Empire, Napoleon charging around the place. And you see that with decoration underneath the cornice gable here. And nice little detail above the door. Gorgeous, these arrows. There's so many interesting decorations above the doors. I can see the camera's a bit skewed. Let me try and straighten it. Oh, that's just made it worse. Okay, there we go. And then quite unusual for Amsterdam, and this is also an Empire style, is the way these steps come down facing the street like this. We haven't seen a lot of these, because normally it's like that. Just about everything we've seen has been like that. Oh, oh gosh. So I shouldn't walk backwards towards the canals. I definitely shouldn't. Okay. Now, next building over here. Oh, I can see we've got some. Hang on a second. Some water on the lens. Next building over here is an absolute mess architecturally. I think, anyway. I think it's pretty darn ugly. Let me try and get a good view of it for you. Okay. Oops. Very asymmetrical and kind of weird. Oh. And I'll show you what it looked like originally. Here is a drawing of it. More. So it had a step gable and it wasn't asymmetrical. It had a little doorway to the left of it, you see. And what happened is that doorway there had some building built on top of it, sort of filled that in. Yes, and also, yes, more forward-facing steps. Ooh. So yeah, that's why it looks like such a mess. It's just a weird building. And the last one to talk about today is this one. And I'll go in front of it. This is interesting because it's the very first building job that Berlage got, the famous city architect who he designed the Beurs van Berlage and sort of rationalist style, very modern, wasn't into the neos at all. And then, so I got more water, really is getting water on this lens. And so this is a neo-Renaissance style when he was still doing neos. But it was his first job, and he got it probably through his cousin. And he managed to get the job for him. Just want to show you in the entrance, because the entrance is completely different style, utterly different. It is Art Deco inside. Look at that gorgeous lamp. Amazing, eh? And not get rid of the find a place to tuck myself. I got a bunch of photos to show you from the inside, and I can't take you inside with the camera because it is a sauna. Oh God, I'd love to go inside now with my cold fingers. It's a sauna, and it's a European sauna, so it's a naked sauna. I definitely can't be streaming inside. And the reason that they do that is that it's just more hygienic, because when you go for a shower, everything gets washed. Oh, look at the lovely reflection on the windows on the left from this, from the sun going down. Okay, so Sauna Deco it's called, and it's been a sauna since 1979. And the interior was actually taken from a department store in Paris. That was from the 1920s. And it really is like walking into another world. And I've got a bunch of photos to show you, and then I'll come back to this lovely setting sun. So, here's when you walk in. Oh, shoot. Pass through the doors. And There's another picture from the entrance area. You do get robes to walk around in. Yes, it's just so wonderfully decorated. It really is. It's just, I've been there. I love it. It's amazing. And it's really just quite astonishing when you see. And just one more picture here. Whew. This is the plunge pool. Okay, and because it's looking so beautiful, I'm just going to leave you on that view and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Oh my goodness, okay. So, there's this guy called Melis who runs it now. Step on the boat here. Oops. Ooh, I decided to step on a very slippery boat because you get a better view. And his parents opened it. His mom used to work at the sauna called the Cosmos, a famous sauna, and his dad was an antiques dealer, and his dad got that lovely decoration, you know, the interior through his contacts, obviously. And maybe his daughter, he's wondering, maybe his daughter will end up running it and you'll have 3 generations of the family. There was a little video on YouTube about it, and he was saying, she's still a young girl, she was saying maybe we'll make it to 100 years. So she said, not 100 years, 1,000 years. Okay. Anyway, it has 2 finished saunas, so dry saunas. One that the temperature is 80 degrees and the other one 100 degrees. So that's really hot. That's like centigrade, obviously, which seems crazy hot. But anyway, don't stay in too long. There's a steam room, there's an infrared cabin, and that plunge pool is actually cold. There's a cold plunge pool. Brr. And you can get massages. The massages cost extra, and it's not expensive to go in. It's €28.50. So that's very reasonable. And you get a whole mixture. You get a mixture of locals who go there every sort of, you know, every week for 30 years. And, oh, I want to get back down into this boat and get a beautiful view. Okay, from here. And, you know, you get some tourists, you get expats, you get the whole shebang. Lenny Kravitz was even there once. So who knows, you could have bumped into Lenny Kravitz. And, yes, it's a very pleasant environment. So, on my fingers, I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice to pop in after the tour? Oh, I don't have a swimming costume. Oh, hey, I don't need one. Now, it is time for the quiz. Okay, so the quiz question for the slicey. So if you have a slicey already, do hold back because there's some people who haven't got one yet. And the quiz question for today, actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk around to Single. No, I'm not. I'm going to stay here because I'll go up onto the bridge. The quiz question for today is as follows. I showed you a bunch of gable stones earlier, and I showed you one of a gold horse with wings. Now, whilst it is a horse with wings, the gable stone is named after another animal, not a horse. What animal is it named after? The golden something or another, but it's not horse, is the quiz question for today. No, it's not Pegasus. I'm asking what was the name of the gable stone. So the horse is certainly Pegasus. But the Gablestone is called something else. It's not called the golden horse. It's called the golden and a different animal, not a horse, even though it is a horse. Nope, not a unicorn. It's not the golden fleece. Nope. Okay, well, it's not the golden lion. Did somebody get it? Yes, yes, Karen, it is indeed the golden fox. So Karen, I believe, unless there was anyone before Karen, because I don't know, this gets a bit sticky in the chat, but I think it's Karen. If you can, just...
Am I now in the live feed or not?
Yeah.
Oh,
You can, if you could just contact me with an address and I will post that off to you. And you can do that either through my email in the description. Hey, if you can like the video, that'd be great. Email in the description, mark@thattimeguide.com, particularly if it's from the US, because they like me to put an email address in as well. Thanks for the coffees, those who have donated. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, much appreciated. And I will see you next week. So thank you for joining, everybody. Bye-bye. Give you that lovely view just for a moment. Maybe zoom in. Oh, it's a pleasure, Tricia. Pleasure, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Much appreciated. And I know that Natalie in London has something starting in 3 minutes. Thanks, Hilary, for the coffee. Maybe give that have a look in. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Take care.